What's up and welcome to the channel. My name is Headshot and thank you guys for joining us. Today we were reviewing the Ruger Security 9 because you need security, I need security, we are our own security, and that's what we're going to review today. I don't know where they got the name from, but it is the Security 9, and this is a special review because I haven't had many requests for this gun, but one of our SHOT team members, Patreons, requested that we review it, and anytime I can do that for you guys, I like to do that. So we will go through the ins and outs, pros and cons, shooting, and everything you need to know about the Ruger Security 9. Thank you to Ruger, by the way, for sending us this gun out for the review. So let's go ahead and open it up, show you what comes in the box. This is a value-minded, budget-friendly gun. If you're looking for something that is a Glock 19 size, but you don't want to spend 550 bucks, this might be a good one for you. You get your paperwork, all of that good stuff, pretty nice manual, stickers, everything you need to know about the guns in there. The gun, of course, two 15-round magazines, plastic included, everything like that. Let's get the box out of the way and talk about the star of the show, the Security 9. Features here really quick, or no, let's do specs and then we'll go to features. Alright, so specs here really quick. You have a 4-inch barrel. Overall length is basically call it 7¼ inches. Weight is 23.7 ounces, unloaded of course. Your height is 5 inches. These things MSRP at $379, but most of the time when I see them, they're under $300, which is a banging deal. Capacity, of course, 15, and slide width is 1.02 inches. Now, you could get a pretty good idea of the size of this gun, but let's bring out the standard because, and people ask me this all the time, why do you compare everything to Glock? Because even people that don't know anything about guns know what a Glock is, and this is probably the universal standard when it comes to size, weight, capacity, all of that good stuff. So Glock 19 Gen 5, slide to slide, almost identical in overall length, width, pretty close, and if we put them on their backs, almost identical. This is pretty awesome. I mean, you have 15 rounds in a gun that's basically the size of a Glock 19, which is really good, and it's not that much heavier. They're almost identical in weight as well. Now, the reason I point this out is because a lot of people like this size. It's a good place to start. It's good for the range. It's good for your home. If you have a good holster, of course, then you can carry this comfortably, which is nice. So, you know, it's not the best carry gun, don't get me wrong, but if you have a good holster and belt, you can carry this gun comfortably. So it's a good size all the way around, and that's what a lot of people are looking for, and I think that's why Ruger decided to come out with this gun. Features here really quick. You have a blue through hardened alloy steel slide and barrel. They're high performance glass filled nylon. They've used glass filled nylon for a long time. You have the hard-coated aluminum chassis and your full-length guide rods. I'll show you that when we break the gun down. And then the trigger on this, we'll talk about the trigger after the shooting part of the review, but it is basically like the LCP2, and where you have a pre-cocked hammer in the back. When you pull the trigger, you're basically finishing that process, and you know, overall not a bad trigger. It's not like a traditional hammer-fired gun, and it's their secure action system that they use in the LCP2. That's basically the same thing you have here. Front and rear sights. This one is actually non-adjustable, but it is dovetailed in, so you can get that one out of there. The rear is adjustable for windage, and what's kind of interesting is you have like this Glock U-notch shaped in the back. If you can tell right there, they look pretty similar, and then your white dot there in the front. Overall features, you have front and rear slide serrations, very LCP2-ish as well. They're kind of cocked back a little bit and angled down, front and rear, so if you do your press checks, you have a little bit more to hold on to, which is great. Picatinny rail up here, Your trigger guard is rounded, undercut in the frame. You get a nice good grip up on the gun. Now the gun is kind of weird, is it almost identifies as a Ruger American, but then it's kind of like the SR9 in a way. The Ruger American had that weird squared off back end, and you know, it hurt a lot of people's hands. This one isn't like that, but then again, it's kind of like the SR9. You have the safety and all of that, so don't misgender it. It is the Ruger Security 9, but it's kind of a mixture of the two, which is pretty neat, and kind of like the LCP2 in a way as well. So obviously much bigger, but magazine release on the left hand side of the gun, and then you have this nice grip texturing right there. I really love what Ruger does with the grip texturing. Feels really good, not overly aggressive, but when you're firing the gun, you don't feel like it's gonna slip out of your hands, especially in the kind of climate we are in. Safety, of course, I mentioned that. And on the right hand side of the gun, nothing going on over here. So left-handed shooters, that would maybe an adjustment, maybe not. All right, breakdown here, and then we will get to the shooting. What you're gonna do, drop the mag, make sure it's clear, of course. I got my little screwdriver. You're gonna pull it back slightly. You see how you have this little cutout? You just wanna pull the slide back just a little bit. And the way I like to do this is just gently take this, pry it out a little bit, and it comes right out. Not a big deal at all. Slide comes off. You don't have to pull the trigger, which is nice. Steel guide rod, single captive spring, barrel, all of that good stuff. If any of you guys know why they do this, this is the only company I know of that kind of does this. I don't even know what you call it. I'll be honest with you, I don't. But if any of you guys know what purpose that serves, leave me a comment down below. I'd really be interested to find out. But you can see your lockup and everything right there, and full length guide rods, and you can kind of tell how this trigger system works. Let me get this decocked back into place again so I can show you. But right here, you'll see when I pull the trigger, it kind of drops it back just a little bit. Like I said, you're finishing the process. It's already pre-cocked. It just comes back ever so slightly, and then it breaks. So get that back down in place there, and then there's the back of your firing pin. So not very unusual from anything we've seen. It's pretty typical, except for that, you know, hammer. Most of them have an internal striker. Putting it back together is simple. Pull it back to where it was, where you started. Make sure your flat part is down. Push that through, and you're good to go. So there are the main features of the Ruger Security 9. Let's take you guys to the range. We'll show you how it's shot. Then we'll show you the trigger, pros and cons, and our overall opinion of the Security 9. We'll see you guys in a minute. All right, well, I'm all over to the right on that target. Let's try a different target, the one to the left of it, and see if I can do a little bit better than that. Alright, yeah, that's a little bit better. At least it's more centered now anyways, but definitely something we're going to have to get used to. That trigger is pretty long. It's not like a traditional striker fire trigger, even though it's not bad weight-wise and all that. It's just got a long take-up and a pretty long reset. That has nothing to do with the gun. Obviously, I just need to get used to it and get my trigger finger under control is what I need to do. It's nothing with the gun. So Mr. Tech Shot's going to take some more shots, and we're going to go through this thing a little bit more for you guys. All right, I'm gonna try to take some really slow, precise shooting, see what kind of group I can get with this thing. I think that it definitely is a good shooter. It just takes a little bit of practice with it, just like every gun really. So let's take some slow shots and see if I can get a good group with this thing. It's kind of a straight line, to be honest with you. It's not like the best, tightest group ever, but I mean, for self-defense purposes, you wouldn't even look twice at that. That's definitely reasonable and not too bad. We'll talk more about the trigger in the tabletop part of the review. It just is a little bit different. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. The gun shoots fine, but it's not something that I think you're going to be able to take out to the range the very first mag and be spot on. That trigger takes a little bit of getting used to, and it definitely caught us off guard at first, you know. And let me show you the trigger and then kind of get into it a little bit more. So we're clear. You have a little bit of take up in the trigger, and then you're going to be finishing the process in the first part of this pull. And it almost seems like it gets a little bit heavier as you're pulling to the rear and causing the gun to, you know, the hammer to hit the back of the firing pin there. So it does seem like it gets a little bit heavier through the pull and then it breaks. It's not a bad trigger. There's the reset. And there's all the way out, so pretty much all the way out. It's got a decent trigger in it. Now let me show you this compared to the LCP2. Put that down. LCP2, if you haven't watched the review, please go over and check it out, but same kind of deal. You're basically finishing the process. You've seen that a little bit more, a little bit clearer actually on this gun, I think. And the trigger, it's kind of similar in the action, but in a way it's not. This one doesn't feel like it gets heavier through the pull. It feels like once you get past the wall, it's the same kind of break. It's kind of hard to describe, but this one just seems like it gets heavier through the pull. Let's check the weight on it, see where we're at. I found my trigger gauge scale, as you guys can see, in the course of us moving and everything. 6 pounds, 11 ounces, so definitely not the lightest trigger, but, you know, everybody focuses on the trigger like it's everything in the gun, 6 pounds, 10 ounces, so really consistently in that 6 pound, 10 ounce range. You know, it's not like, oh my God, I can't shoot this gun, it's a piece of junk, we got to throw it away. It's just different, and it's something, if you're in the market for a sub $300 gun, just something that you would have to get used to. So it's just one of those things. Not a bad shooter. We didn't have any issues with it. Once I got used to it, this is, you know, these are kind of like Glock sights, but you really gotta, it's not really like a Glock. It didn't really shoot like a Glock. So I'd probably change these sights out. I don't know what kind of options are available. But I would probably definitely change the sights out. No issues, just a little bit different, and that's really all it amounts to. What about pros and cons? First of all, the major pro is the price. And this is something that Ruger didn't just figure out. They consistently have all of us in mind, because it seems like almost every gun they come out with is at a good price. And I respect that, and I know you can too. Now, a lower price doesn't mean it's a piece of junk. Sometimes it does, but not in the case with Ruger. They've been making reliable guns for a long time, and from what I've seen from the Security 9, that's no different. Everybody's having really good luck with these things, and I don't think anybody would really expect anything different, but we definitely had a good time with ours. No jams or anything like that, which was good. Overall, the grip texturing, I really do like this. If they put this on every single one of their guns from now on, I would not complain. It is, in a way, kind of similar to the SIG P365. It's got that rough texturing, but not too rough. It's not as rough as the 365, but it's got the same kind of patterning, which I really enjoy. And the gun overall, just like almost every Ruger we've ever shot, it does a good job at the range. There's nothing here that's going to wow your friends or wow anybody, but it does what it needs to do. And overall, just a great little handgun. Two 15-round magazines, which is great. The size, weight, and capacity ratio, I think Ruger really nailed it on this one. As far as cons, pretty much what we talked about. I'm not a fan of the safety. Hopefully they will come out with a version without the safety. And the trigger, to me, it could definitely be better. And you know, like I said, it's just something you have to get used to. It's not like it's the worst shooter ever, but you definitely have to get used to that trigger. And I'm not really a fan of these sights either, and Mrs. Headshot wasn't a fan of them, but which is really probably no surprise to any of you that have watched our channel for a while. But overall, I think the Ruger Security 9, if I had to give it a grade, I would give it an 8, because I think for a sub $300 gun, they did a lot of great things with this one. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. We will see you in the next one, and as always, hold them down.